Before we talk about remaining food components, we will discuss few activities. We just learned that our food has carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. But how can you make sure these are present in our daily menu? Do you know how a doctor diagnoses the disease of a sick person? Yes, with the help of testing, he confirms the disease. Likewise, we can confirm the presence of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats by testing various foods rich in them. Are you interested in doing experiments, children? Very good. We will do all these experiments in our lab. But before that, you jot down the materials required and the procedure clearly in your notebook. What is the first food component you have learned, children? Yes, that is carbohydrate. So first, we will see how to test for a carbohydrate. Okay, children? Now guess what may be the aim of that experiment? Yes, to test the presence of carbohydrate or starch in food items like potato and rice. What do we need for this experiment? Yes, the materials required are potato or boiled rice, dilute iodine solution, a dropper, and test tube. Let us see the procedure. To perform this experiment, first we need to prepare dilute iodine solution. Children, do you know what is a dilute solution? Yes, to decrease the concentration of iodine in solution, we add water to it. For that, take a test tube and add few drops of iodine to it. Then dilute it with water till it becomes light yellow or brown. Now we can use this dilute iodine solution to test for starch. Then to test for starch, take a food sample like potato or boiled rice in the test tube and add few drops of dilute iodine solution to it. Now observe the change in color. The color of the food sample like potato or boiled rice turns dark blue or black. So what it indicates? Yes, the change of color of potato or boiled rice into dark blue or black indicates the presence of starch. While doing this experiment, we need to take a precaution regarding the usage of iodine solution. Iodine solution must be handled with care. Now tell me, children, what are the materials required for this experiment? Yes, we have to take a potato or boiled rice, test tube, dropper, and dilute iodine solution. Very good. How can you confirm the presence of carbohydrate? Yes, if the color changes to blue or black, it indicates the presence of starch. Very. Let's see the next experiment, that is test for proteins. Aim of this experiment is to test the presence of proteins in food samples like pea powder, milk or egg white. The materials required for this experiment are 2% copper sulfate solution, 10% sodium hydroxide solution, food samples like pea powder, milk or egg white, dropper and test tube. Before performing this experiment, first we have to prepare the solutions. What are the solutions required for this experiment, children? We require 2% copper sulfate solution and 10% sodium hydroxide solution. First we'll see how to prepare the 2% copper sulfate solution. To prepare this solution, dissolve 2 grams of copper sulfate in 100 milliliters of water. Now, to prepare 10% sodium hydroxide solution, dissolve 10 grams of sodium hydroxide in 100 milliliters of water. Now, the chemical solutions are ready. We'll move on to the next step. If we take a solid, first grind it into a powder or paste. Take a little of it in a test tube and add 10 drops of water to the powder and stir well. If you take solutions, take 10 drops of food sample solution like milk, etc. in a clean test tube. Now, add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution and 10 drops of sodium hydroxide to the test tube and shake well. Now, observe the color change. We can clearly observe the color change in the test tube. The change of color to violet or purple confirms the presence of proteins. Children, how can you confirm the presence of protein? By observing the color change to violet or purple confirms the presence of proteins. Very good. When we are performing this experiment, we need to take some precautions. That is, sodium hydroxide is corrosive in nature. So, avoid contact with skin. Okay, children? What is the third component you have learned, children? Yes, that is fat. Now, let us see how to test for fats. The aim of this experiment is to test the presence of fats in food items like ghee, oil or groundnuts. Guess what are the materials required? Yes, some food samples like ghee, oil or groundnuts and a piece of paper. Let us see the procedure how to do this. First, you take a small quantity of food samples like ghee, oil or groundnuts. Then, rub it gently on a piece of paper. See children how easy this is when compared to the last two experiments? Yes. Now, we can observe an oily patch on a piece of paper. Finally, how can we confirm the presence of fats? The paper with an oily patch, if exposed to light, we can see the light faintly. Any fat substance turns the paper translucent. The precaution to be taken is make sure that piece of paper is not torn while rubbing. Children, have you ever observed when you eat food varieties like vada, puri in a paper plate? It is getting translucent. Think about that. Now tell me children, what are the materials required for this easy experiment? Yes, just some food samples and a piece of paper. Very good. Do you think that groundnuts have only fat but no protein? Yes, a groundnut has even proteins but has fats in higher proportion. The test which we looked into confirmed the food components present in large quantities. Can we apply these tests to other food components? Yes, obviously. Let's have a look at these and try to say what components are present in them. Which foods show the presence of starch? What are the nutrients present in milk? What food items contain fat? We have tested food items for three nutrients, say carbohydrates, proteins, and fats.